And we're live. What's up, everybody? Launch Radio. We haven't done one of these in a while, but let's talk because we need to talk, and maybe this can be the official first episode of the news. I've been talking news for a long time. I did it in college. I went to a school called Elon University, which was a lot of fun. How did I go to Elon University? The subject of this podcast, which is the first news one that I've done in a long time, is Elon Musk and Twitter's future, and the school that I happened to go to in North Carolina was Elon University. I just find that ironic. Sorry. Anyway, I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about what's going on with Musk and Twitter and all of the chaos that's happening there right now. It's just been everybody's been going crazy. Make sure this is broadcasting and it's working. Great. Everybody's been going crazy with him owning the company, and they don't really know what to think, and they don't know where it's going. They don't know where it's taking it. One thing you should know about me, which is something that I've talked about on Twitter before, is I don't really get overly worked up about these things generally. Like, I try to give the best, my best assessment of the situation before I get worked up. And the problem is when you try to be rational, especially in a place like Twitter, it doesn't always go over well. So people get they get angry with me, and that happens. A lot of people agree with me too, but there's kind of a lot of both in the Twitter sphere. But I wanted to say regarding Elon and what's happening there. Look, I've said this many times. I think that Elon Musk is a brilliant, brilliant engineer. Okay. What he's done at Tesla and SpaceX, I mean, he's launched rockets into orbit. Okay. The guy is very, very, very smart in regards to that type of stuff, physics, rockets, anything like that. Cars, he knows far more about that than someone like me could ever dream of, unless I studied physics extensively and science, which I didn't. So he knows that stuff. He's brilliant. Brilliant. Let's get that off the table. And anybody who says he doesn't brilliant, I don't agree with you, because in that realm, he is brilliant. He's a very, very, very smart engineer, scientist, all of that. That being said, I I don't see so far what he's shown me, and I've only followed him on Twitter for 2 or 3 years. They say he used to be a Democrat, or he says that, and that's fine. Like there's photos of him walking with Obama around the rockets and everything, and that's great. And like he says that, but let me tell you something about Democrats, liberals. As far as Elon goes, you can't just say I was telling a friend of this I was telling this to a friend of mine the other night. You can't just say I'm pro climate and that makes you a Democrat. It doesn't work like that. There's more of a culture. There's more of an like the left. There's a deeper understanding of goals and communication and just everything. It's more than just a simple something on a page like I like climate, I'm a Democrat. No, it's more than that. So when he says that, look, we have to take Elon. Look, there's a rule where like if somebody says they're this, like you can't doubt if that's what they say they are. Then can you doubt who they are based on what they say? I don't believe him when he says that. Okay, when Elon Musk says he has been a Democrat and stuff, I don't believe him, and the reason I don't believe him is because he has the entire liberal left, especially progressives, which I think are their own party, after him and on him, and saying he's not going along like he's not an advocate for their beliefs, for their system. He's not. He can say pro climate, but like stuff he says online, stuff he's like his day to day isn't that. Now maybe it used to be. I don't know. From what I've seen, it's not. But that's okay. Like that's who he is. Like my dad's a Republican. If you want to, if you're on the right, you're on the right. Like, fine. But like I'm saying his actions and what he says don't match being a Democrat. Okay? And I've said that online. I think he's a brilliant engineer. I think he's a brilliant physicist, scientist, all of that stuff. But I don't think he gets it. And the reason I think that is the left doesn't agree with him, but he also doesn't, I don't know what it is, but he doesn't communicate with the left much on Twitter. He just doesn't. I've asked him questions. Yashar, who I retweet all the time. By the way, I think he's the best journalist on Twitter. Okay? And I know there was an article and a whole thing, a year ago, June, where about, I don't know, some Kathy Griffin and owing somebody money and everything. But the article was kind of whatever. It didn't affect my opinion of him in any way. And I think that a lot of mainstream names started not retweeting Yashar after that, and I think that's a shame because I think he's brilliant. But when I have ADD, so I regress a little bit. But the point I'm getting to with Elon is Yashar's asked him specific questions. I've asked him specific questions. He doesn't respond to anything that relates to, liberal left progressive psychology. And I don't know why he's not responding. A lot of the time they're easy questions. They're like layups that he can answer. Like, they're not hard questions sometimes, and he still doesn't. So I wish that he would try to communicate more, and that's why I've been trying to get a job at Twitter. I've literally on Twitter, I've been like, hey, I want a job. Like, how do I get a job here? Not because I'm being a jerk, but because I really think I could help him. If Twitter's going to be this space where everybody is represented, where people have an opinion, free speech, all that stuff, the person or people running it have to have a view, a big overall view of humanity, okay? Not just the right, not just the left. I would make an argument that the people that all walked out or got fired, that was too, they were too progressive, many of them. I don't know of a lot of people on the right that were at Twitter. Where are they? Where are the people that agreed with Musk before Musk was there? See, that's a problem. Because if it's going to be an equal communication sphere, there's got to be an equal voice, an equal amount of people on both sides there. And that's why I think if you're going to moderate content. So today Musk tweeted something that said that he was going to start, if it's a hate tweet, he's not going to that he's going to lower that in the feed. So people have freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. Freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach, is what he said. But the problem is, how do you label what's a hate tweet? That's so subjective, and so depending on your politics, your beliefs, you can label that however you want. So I didn't really like that. But the reason I don't like it is because he's not shown to me that he understands the left. And I want him to understand the left. I think the person running Twitter should understand all people's views. There's 4 parties, and I've said this a million times on Twitter. There's Trump, MAGA, there's Republicans, conservatives, there's liberal Democrats, and there's progressives. Green, blue, red, orange. Okay? Orange Trump, red Republican, blue liberal Democrats, and green progressive. We have 4 parties in the United States of America here, okay? And let's make that clear. But aside from that, I just think that Musk has to. I don't know why he's not. He's not insulting or going after people. A lot of the time he's just ignoring it, and I don't get what that is. Maybe he doesn't understand it. Maybe he doesn't want to. I don't know. But when half the country is saying you don't understand them, or they're mad at you, and you're running Twitter, which is the most important communication platform probably this century, I would feel a deep responsibility as the owner, manager of Twitter to try to understand what those people are saying. I would feel an obligation. I would feel guilty if I didn't. And I don't see that so far from Elon. I don't. And I want him to. I'm rooting for him. I always liked Elon Musk. Still do. I like him, but I'm waiting for him to do that, and I don't know why he won't do it. I could help him with that, honestly. That's why I want a job there. I'll go work for Elon tomorrow. I'll go help, and I'll help make Twitter this more balanced place. And but to get back to the point, he was saying that um he was saying something, or he said today that he's gonna hateful tweets he's gonna lower down. There's not gonna get as much reach on Twitter, but that's subjective. So you can't have one person moderating content. There's too much bias there. You have to have people. You have to have an array, and that's why in this country we have trial. We have trial by jury because you want multiple opinions on something like that. It's like a jury. So what you do is when you're moderating content and there's stuff that comes up and you don't know what to do with it, Twitter should have a jury. Twitter should have a jury. Okay? Working there every 3 months. People from all walks of life, okay, that are paid, that go there, and their job is to take these tweets that are controversial and the jury discusses amongst themselves and decides. Because you can't have a bunch of Republicans or a bunch of Democrats or a bunch of Trumps or a bunch of progressives deciding it. It's too biased. It's not fair to the whole. That's why you create a jury at Twitter, a group of people, 12 people from all walks of life, and you have them moderate content. And you can change the jury every few months for fun. Maybe it's a civic duty. Maybe it's I don't know how you would do that, but it can't just be, liberals, progressives at Twitter deciding what's hateful and what's not. And it can't just be Elon Musk himself deciding at Twitter or whoever he hires, because it all tends to be biased to the right. It all tends to be biased to the right. Like, I'm sorry, but I just am not seeing that from Musk yet. And when I ask him, he's quiet. So I don't know why. But that's my opinion. Jerome says Elon is going to do what he wants to do because he thinks he is the smartest guy in the room, and who can argue with him? Elon is as transparent as they come. I will believe he will make it a lot more fair. Like I said, I'm rooting for Elon. Okay? I want him to make this platform better. I'm rooting for him. I'm not seeing it so far simply because he won't acknowledge half the country. He doesn't seem to acknowledge the left. Not nearly. He tweets with the right. He tweets with the far right. A lot. So, I'm rooting for him, but I haven't seen it yet. He's got to prove to me that the left, that he can acknowledge them. Because it's never going to work if you have half the country hating you. Everybody's just going to log off. But it needs to be stuff like what I just said about having a jury decide content moderation so that you get a well-rounded view, not just people in a back room deciding like they did before. That doesn't work. It ends up too biased. You can't we're going to hire people and not let you know who's moderating content, and it's all secret, and we're not going to let you know who's verified and who's not, and how we're doing it, and that doesn't work. Twitter is a communication. It's like practically a government platform. I mean, it literally, I said today on Twitter, it's almost like Twitter's like the modern day constitution, like the people are deciding, because things go through Twitter and then they go to the news and then they get broadcast. All the news and media is on Twitter. It's all siphoning through Twitter. It's very, very important. So I'm rooting for Elon. I was always a fan, to be honest. I've always been a fan of Elon Musk and what he's done with Tesla and SpaceX. Still am with that stuff. Twitter and communication politics, I just keep seeing somebody who looks like they're on the right to me and doesn't really understand the left. Mostly because he's quiet about it. He posts a lot of right-wing memes. And that's fine. If that's what he is, that's fine. But I think he said recently he's a Republican now. But that's fine. But if he's going to be a Republican, then on a platform like Twitter, it has to be more well-rounded. It can't just become all right-wingers, high-fiving, where everybody checks out. In this creating a platform, like, what is it? The right had these platforms like Trump Social, and what were the other ones? Like Gab. There was Gab, and, I don't even remember. Didn't they all none of them worked? And now the left has Mastodon. Look, the problem with those platforms is everybody from one side goes on it, and it becomes boring. The whole reason there's progress and that things happen is because people are disagreeing. because you're pushing back against each other and there's friction, like when two sides like push against each other, that leads to progress. Otherwise, everybody's just agreeing with each other, and it's boring. That it sounds fun, but in about 5 seconds, everybody gets bored, and they go back to Twitter where they can where they can push up. Why do you think the left talks about Trump so much? The left media talks about Trump so much. They didn't have to. They could just talk all about Joe Biden and all that. But they talk about Trump because that's what leads to progress. The conflict gets you there. So you have to have both on a platform. Going to another platform never works. Still won't work. But the people running the show, like Elon, have to. It's very, very important. They have to have an understanding. They don't have to agree with them, but they have to have an understanding of the people on the other side of politics. That would be my biggest tip. I mean, what do I know? I'm a guy sitting in my apartment in Los Angeles, but just watching this go by and people that have asked me, that would be my biggest tip. If he wants an equal platform, and he also got to figure out what to do about, there's a lot to work through here with the news and frankly with everything. I mean, I don't know the direction Elon intends to go, so that kind of puts me in the dark. But at least from his tweets, he keeps tweeting kind of vague. I mean, what did he tweet today? He said, let's look at what he said. So today, he's talking about, he asked, should he reinstate Trump? Well, okay, so this is something I just got into a debate with people on. He asked if he should reinstate Trump, and he took a vote. And let's see. Okay, on Elon's poll, reinstate former President Trump, 55.1% said yes, and 44.9% said no, and 5 million people have voted so far. Okay? Now, here's the problem with this. And I've already addressed it. I tweeted AOC about this and everything. The problem with this, first of all, is Elon's audience and Trump's audience are the ones who are going to vote. Because the people that don't like Trump or don't like Elon just don't care about whatever he's tweeting. There's no stakes. They just don't care. So you're getting so many more of the people hyped because they're like, oh, if we vote yes, Trump's going to get back on Twitter. Yeah, let's do it. So there's stakes because they think Elon can get Trump back on, which maybe he can't, maybe he will. I don't know. I don't think it matters, frankly, if Trump's on Twitter because Trump's on Twitter anyway. Trump's on Twitter right now. We see Trump's posts, whatever he's on that app he started, Trump Social. He posts 10 times every day, and the media and Trumpers and everybody else puts it all on Twitter. So what's the frickin' difference? I don't care. I'm seeing Trump all day on here and on CNN and on it. Like I just Trumping on Twitter, and some of his tweets actually, like sometimes they're like it's funny to laugh at Trump sometimes, and a lot of the left agrees with me on that. So I don't really care. Like if it gives you some joy of Trump not being on Twitter when he really is on Twitter already, like whatever. But like, the bottom line is I don't think this really matters. Like it's whatever. It's so dumb. But the bottom line is this poll is not proper representation of the public because more Trump voters. Everybody's not obligated to vote. There's more Trump people probably following him and keeping track of him. So the audience isn't even there. And I would actually say, because they're only winning, it's 55% to 44%. If you had more anti-Trump voting, because the pro-Trump are very amped up about this poll, I don't know that the pro-Trumps would win. Like I think the anti-Trumps, because there's less of them voting. I guarantee there's less of them voting. It might be no, and he doesn't get back on Twitter. Not that I really care, but what I think is interesting here is and I posted this to AOC. See, his poll is interesting in this regard. Like, if you could send polls to a bigger audience, Like polls were like all if everybody had like immediate access to Twitter, or they because only like 30% of the country is active on Twitter, I think. So it's 30%, first of all. You're not getting near the hole with this poll. But if everybody saw the poll and everybody had the opportunity to vote somehow, every house, everywhere in America had the opportunity to vote, these could be very interesting, you know? Because the poll would have a way to reach everybody. This isn't even close to reaching everybody. This is like just, I wouldn't trust his numbers on this tweet at all. I wouldn't trust him at all. But it would be interesting to vote on certain things if everybody could get the poll. I don't know how you do that. Only 30% of the country's on Twitter, and a lot of people aren't seeing it to begin with, and then a lot of anti-Trump don't care about Elon's dumb tweet about Trump should get back on or not. I'm just telling you what they think and say. So if there was a way where everybody had stakes to get the poll to everybody, a digital voting system like that is very interesting to me. Actually, I find that interesting. But it needs a lot. It needs a lot of work. And I would tell the people at Twitter that. And Musk probably would agree with me on that. Okay, Flower says, hi Flower, says, I see Elon doing some shady things, like his appeasing Russia and China when we all know what's going on there. Yeah, I don't know enough about Elon's foreign business to really make a comment on that. I don't know. I know he's had a long history doing business overseas, so that's about what I know about that. So he should be called Trumpet. Later, Jerome. It was the sheer fact that the big tech Dems United are so powerful they can ban or mute the president. That kind of thing has never happened in history, so Elon wanted to make a point. Maybe, but I think it's kind of dumb if why just get on there and play politics? You know, why? Why just do that? I mean, it's just, there's kind of like the high road, and it just feels like that's not the high road. So I think we all need to grow up a little bit in that regard. So I would encourage, but I would encourage Elon to see the whole picture. That's all. And he's smarter than I am. I mean, I admire his work with Tesla and SpaceX, but with this politics and Twitter and communication, I think he needs more voices, and I think he needs voices he disagrees with as far as political and communication, because I think that's important for I think it's important for the good of the country, for the good of the world. Half of the people he's not getting along with, and that's not good. I would really try to work on those relationships. And I know he's busy dealing with engineers, dealing with, trying to figure out who his staff is there. Like, that's a lot of stuff going on. He hasn't even probably fully gotten to what I'm saying. Jack Dorsey had an interesting tweet the other night, former founder and CEO of Twitter. He said, nobody knows, was it nobody knows anything? Let me see what he said. He said, Jack Dorsey, okay, let's see. Jack's tweet said, where is it? I can't even find it. I think it said something in the matter of nobody knows anything. Now nobody knows anything was the tweet. Now I see that tweet and it looks to me like I don't think he's talking about what's happening inside Twitter. I think he's talking more about the bigger whole, which is a wise person knows nothing, which is what I believe. Because I always say it all the time that I don't I believe in that way of life that just we don't know it all, and we like to think we know it all, but the reality is we live in a subjective world. Like, I don't claim to know. I don't really know anything. I go through life and on Twitter and just everything knowing that like I don't know. I can give you my best guess, but what do we really know about anything? you know? And I feel like that's kind of what he was saying is we don't when it comes down to it. We all are going through life making our best guess about these things. So I thought that was really interesting. Flower says the fact he bought Twitter at all, probably for that reason. Yeah, I mean, he probably bought, he I don't know why he bought Twitter. I don't know why. He tried to back out of it, but then he was like, there are moments with Elon where I think he's just like messing with the people, but I know he's smarter than that, so I don't think he would do that. Like just as far as like maybe he's just blowing Twitter up and destroying everything that's there. I don't know about that. There's moments where I was like, I don't know, but I think he does is very well intentioned. I think he wants to continue to improve Twitter any way that he can, but he's got to fix what I'm talking about, or it's just never going to work, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but if you're forming a communication tool that everybody's going to use, if you're claiming to rebuild it, if half of the people don't disagree with what you're doing, that's a problem. I would be hiring people to get a balanced view of things for when you're doing stuff like moderating content. I've actually said we need like a social media constitution because the laws are different online than they are in person. Like there's blurred lines between everything. And when they wrote the Constitution, whenever, several hundred years ago, they didn't have the internet back then. so they weren't exactly planning for what internet and social media would do when they wrote the Constitution. So I've always felt like we need a digital one. I've addressed this many times. And I feel like Twitter maybe is the beginning of that. It's like kind of channeling us into forming like a set of rules that everybody can agree with. And so it's almost like it's the passageway. It's the alleyway to that. It's how we get there. But you need more points of view. You need a larger crowd evaluating content. If you get a jury of 12 people from all walks of life to evaluate content, that comes in, evaluate a tweet, that's how you got to do it. You can't be Elon and just evaluate it. And you can't be that old staff and just evaluate it because half the country is always pissed. It has to be more opinions coming in there. Maybe those people would be public, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how you do it, but it would need to be discussed. But this is the important stuff when it comes down to it. Once he's through with the tech stuff that I don't know as much about, what engineers do and all that, like that's Elon's world. I can do more of this kind of politics and managing, points of view of the people. That's what's really important here. That I don't think Elon gets because he hasn't shown me he gets it. Maybe he does, but he hasn't shown me that. That's not personal against him. I'm just saying what I think. Yes, Elon is smart, but he's also brazen at the end. Let me see. Elon's smart, but he's also brazen at the end, and he's only human and subject to human imperfection. Yes, I agree, because right now the net is not owned by all of us like it was intended. Yeah. True, we don't know it all. That's why we should be, at the very least, demand transparency and freedom of speech. Yeah. He said today he wouldn't put Alex Jones back on the platform. That was pretty funny. Somebody said, will you put Alex Jones? He goes, no. And then somebody else was like pushing him about that, and he goes, too bad. That's good, Elon. That's good. That's more. Now, it's good in that he's at least considering both sides. It's not good because he is suppressing freedom of speech. If you believe in the ultimate freedom of speech, like everybody should say whatever they want, if you're appeasing both sides and kind of managing, then that's a good thing. But Alex Jones would have to be discussed by the jury in the online content because Alex Jones is in Twitter communication prison right now. So that's a topic that would need to go to the Twitter jury, a group of 12 people, to evaluate if Alex Jones should be on Twitter. Just like we do in real life. Now, Alex Jones isn't going to jail. He's going to digital jail on Twitter. Digital jail. That's why there needs to be a set of rules and a jury deciding this stuff in the digital world. Just like we have in court with criminals, you have a jury of 12 people. The digital world needs a jury of 12 people to decide if Alex Jones should be on Twitter or not. To decide how somebody says a hateful tweet. To decide if that tweet should have reach, if it should be cut, if it should be deleted. There have to be rules and regulations that everybody agrees to, and it comes from a jury. It comes from a group of people from all walks voting on something. 12 people, 16 people, 20 people, whatever you decide. And it could change every month, every 3 months. So a Twitter jury to help moderate content. Folks, I got to jump. We did 31 minutes tonight. It was great chatting with you. I'm going to do some more. I wanted to discuss Elon and Twitter's future. Hopefully he sees this. Elon, I hope you don't take it personally. I think the world of what you've done with Tesla and SpaceX. I just wanted to state my opinion about what's going on with Twitter because I want to help you. I want to help you as much as I can. Okay? I have great intentions here. I want to help. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Flower, you were great. You feel this digital censorship and digital jailing needs to go. It's okay to disagree, and may the best man win fair. Maybe. I don't know. It's something the jury would have to discuss. So, greets from Holland. Thanks, Flower. Anyway, thank you. Here at Launch Radio, we're the future, and the future is Launch Radio, Episode 1. We're going to do this a lot more coming up. Thank you, guys. Good chatting. Good night.